He said his ex was just a friend, until I found the second phone he used to text her goodnight. I was sitting in Nathan's car, engine off, parked in our driveway, waiting for him to come out so we could drive to dinner. The message lit up from under the seat, a soft glow that didn't belong. For a second, I thought it was my imagination. Then it buzzed again. I picked it up. Same phone model as his, same brand of case, just not his. My name's Claire, 33. I'm an interior designer. I spend my days fixing other people's messes, rearranging their chaos until everything looks intentional. But that night, in the neat little life I'd built, I realized I'd missed the biggest mess of all. Nathan, my husband, runs a small marketing agency. Charming, persuasive, the kind of man who could sell honesty with a discount code. He talked about clients like friends, and friends like family, and somewhere in the middle, his ex, Lena, became just someone he still checks in on. I remember the first time he said it. "She's just a friend, Claire. You have nothing to worry about." And I didn't. Not for years. The irony still stings. I design homes for a living, spaces where everything belongs. Warm light, open rooms, clean lines. But I couldn't see the cracks forming in my own. The phone buzzed once more. This time, the message said, "Can't wait to see you again." And that's when I stopped waiting. For him, for explanations, for the version of our marriage I thought we had. He said his ex was just a friend. But friends don't hide in glove compartments. When I first met Nathan, it wasn't over dinner or dating apps. It was over floor plans. He'd just leased a new office for his marketing agency and wanted something modern, clean, confident. His words, the kind of space that told clients we know what we're doing, even when they didn't. I was his designer. He was my favorite kind of client. Opinionated but willing to listen, restless but decisive. Those late nights reviewing color palettes turned into long talks about music, food, our mutual hatred for small talk. He'd make coffee while I rearranged samples, and somewhere between deadlines and takeout containers, we fell into each other's orbit. I liked how he spoke about the future, like it was a brand we were building together. He said, "You see structure in everything. That's what I love about you." And I believed him. We married 2 years later. Work settled into a rhythm. I created homes for people who wanted peace. He created campaigns for people chasing dreams. We were busy, but safe. Even our silences felt curated, the kind that said, "We're comfortable." That's when he first mentioned Lena. "She's my ex," he said casually, scrolling through his phone. "We stayed friends. She helped me build the agency." I smiled, told myself it was healthy to keep the past civilized. Looking back, that's where the first shadow landed. He'd get quiet when she texted. Guarded. Once he tilted his screen away. Small, thoughtless movement. And I noticed the instinct before I forgave it. He called it work stress. I called it marriage. The truth is, I've always been a rescuer. If something's cracked, I patch it. If it's fading, I repaint it. I thought that's what love was, fixing what's breaking before anyone notices. I just didn't realize the thing crumbling wasn't him. It was the foundation underneath us. It started quietly, the kind of wrong that hides in plain sight. Nathan began working weekends again. "Client meetings," he said, voice calm, rehearsed. He'd kiss me on the forehead, grab his laptop, and vanish for hours. Sometimes the meetings ran late. Sometimes they got moved around. Always vague, always harmless. At least that's what I told myself. Then came the new passcode. I noticed it one night when I tried to check the time on his phone. He laughed lightly. "Oh yeah, had to change it. Too many spam calls lately." It made sense. Everything he said always did. Just enough sense to stop me from asking twice. Once, I borrowed his car to pick up samples from a client's home. The moment I opened the door, a scent hit me. Sweet, powdery. Not mine. Perfume clings differently when it's recent. It wasn't just a trace, it was a presence. I sat there with my hands on the steering wheel, trying to make logic louder than instinct. He's been rebuilding the business. Maybe it's a client. Maybe someone sprayed something near him. Maybe... I didn't finish the thought because finishing it meant naming what I already knew. When I brought it up later, half laughing, half pleading, he smiled that soft, patient smile he used when he wanted to end a conversation without closing it. "Claire, you always overthink things. And that's the thing about being a fixer. You never notice how much gaslighting feels like guidance. You start to believe that your anxiety is the problem, not the behavior that caused it. I told myself to relax, to trust him, to stop picking at threads that might unravel us. But love, I was learning, doesn't unravel. It decays quietly from the inside out. It was a Saturday morning, the kind of day that smelled like rain and errands. Nathan had left early for another client pitch, so I decided to clean his car before meeting one of my own clients. It was something I did when I needed to quiet my mind, scrub order into the places he left messy. I was kneeling on the driver's side floor mat when the vacuum caught on something hard under the seat. I reached in, fingers brushing dust and loose change, and pulled it out. A phone. Not his phone. The case was wrong, the screen slightly cracked. For a heartbeat, I thought it was an old one he'd forgotten. Then it buzzed. Unknown. She's asleep. Call me. The sound sliced through the quiet like a blade. I froze, the air thick with the hum of the idling vacuum. Then, as if testing whether my life was really about to break, it buzzed again. Unknown. Miss you already? I didn't want to unlock it, but I did. No passcode, no mercy. The wallpaper was a photo of the ocean. Calm, distant, and unfamiliar. I opened the messages first. There she was. Lena, the friend. The thread was long, intimate, and casual in that practiced way, full of inside jokes, late-night check-ins, and words that had lost their professional polish. You still smell like me? Can't wait to see you again. And his reply, you always knew how to calm me down. The irony hit like nausea. He'd once told me healing required boundaries. That closure meant compassion without connection. I'd nodded, proud of how emotionally fluent we'd become. Now I could hear those same words echoing, hollow, therapy speak turned into camouflage. The rain started outside, soft at first, then louder, like it was trying to drown out the realization forming in my chest. I scrolled until I saw a photo of them together. Nothing scandalous, just familiar. His hand on her back, the same easy affection he used to reserve for me. The car felt smaller, the air sharp, the dashboard light reflected in the windshield, framing my face like a stranger's. In that silence, I could almost hear the exact moment something in me gave way. That clean internal snap between disbelief and knowing. That's the sound no one warns you about. Not yelling, not heartbreak, just the quiet click of your world closing in. He said she was just a friend, but friends don't text you when your wife's cleaning the car. That night, I didn't cry. I cleaned. The house, the counters, the wine glasses. I needed something to obey me. When everything gleamed just enough to look like control, I poured a glass of Cabernet and sat at the dining table. The second phone lay in front of me, face down, silent now, but still alive. A small, humming confession. When Nathan walked in, he looked almost radiant. "You're up," he said, smiling as if the room weren't pulsing with evidence. "Yeah," I replied, my tone steady, too calm. "Long day?" "Exhausting," he sighed, loosening his tie. "But good. Productive." I nodded toward the chair opposite me. "Sit. Let's talk about it." He hesitated, sensing something off, then lowered himself into the seat. I spoke like I was reviewing a design brief. Precise, professional. "So walk me through your day. Start with the part where you left for your client meeting. Then the part where your friend texted that she missed you already." His eyes flicked to the table, then froze. The phone sat there like a loaded gun. "It's not what you think," he started. The opening line of every guilty man in history. "It just happened. I didn't mean to hurt you." "Who?" I asked, though I already knew. He rubbed his temples. "Lena, she understands me better than anyone right now." For a long second, the silence pressed against my chest. Then he added quietly, "It's not new, Claire. We've been reconnecting for months. I just didn't know how to tell you." That was the twist that stung. Not the affair itself, but the timeline. The slow, deliberate erosion of truth while he kissed me goodnight. I leaned back, steadying my voice. "Congratulations," I said. He blinked, confused. "For what?" "For being transparent. Just not in the way you think." I took a sip of wine, savoring the taste of something honest at last. After the confrontation, he slept in the guest room. I didn't. While he snored the exhausted sleep of someone forgiven too many times, I sat in my office, surrounded by blueprints and coffee cups, opening folders that were never meant for me. It started as self-defense. I needed proof, something solid to balance against the gaslight that had burned too long. But proof is greedy. Once you find one lie, it whispers for company. I logged into his business email, the one synced to our shared computer for invoice tracking. Within minutes, the illusion of one affair dissolved. There were dinner receipts labeled client entertainment, hotel invoices comped by brands I'd never heard of, Uber rides to neighborhoods that didn't match any meeting locations. Then the DMs, women whose names I recognized from his stories, old coworkers, project leads, clients who just needed advice. The language was always the same. Respectful at first, then intimate, then careless. A pattern. Not an accident, not a one-time betrayal. A design. Each woman was a variation on the same theme, someone who made him feel needed. He'd been recycling the same script for years. Start with empathy, slip into confession, then cross the line under the pretense of emotional support. It was almost strategic. And that's when the irony hit me. Nathan, the man who branded himself as a trust builder. He literally marketed authenticity for a living. The pitch deck on his laptop was titled, "How to Make People Believe in You." Somehow that hurt more than the cheating. Not just the intimacy he gave away, but the way he industrialized deceit. I scrolled through messages until the words stopped burning. By the time dawn came, my anger had cooled into something quieter. Not forgiveness, just clarity. He wasn't addicted to women. He was addicted to admiration, to the reflection of himself in someone else's awe. And me? I'd spent years furnishing the stage for that addiction, buying curtains for the theater where he performed his sincerity. When the sun rose, I closed the laptop, wiped my face, and caught my reflection in the black screen. I didn't look broken. I looked like someone who had finally stepped outside the illusion. Grief was gone. What remained was precision. And for the first time in a long time, I was ready to redesign my life. This time without him in the blueprint. Now, I live in a small studio with creaky floors and too much sunlight, the kind of place realtors call charming when they mean bare. It's quiet here, in a way that doesn't demand an apology. Most days, I sit at my drafting table, sketching layouts for clients who all say the same thing. We want open spaces. And every time I draw one, I smile a little, because I finally built one too. Not in square footage, but in my life. There are still moments when I miss the version of him that never really existed. The man I designed in my head, loyal, steady, decent. But I don't mistake the ghost for the person anymore. People say time heals. Maybe it does. But some wounds don't close. They just teach you where not to lean. At night, I sometimes light a candle, open my journal, and sketch the outlines of rooms that breathe. Spaces that forgive clutter, but not chaos. It feels poetic, maybe even cliché, that I make a living creating order, when it took losing everything to finally find mine. He said his ex was just a friend. Then I found the second phone hidden in his car. That's when I realized honesty has an expiration date. The first thing I designed for myself wasn't a room.